I need to scream for a second because um, the teenagers on this television program have the survival instincts of an absolute potato, like a literal unwashed root vegetable. You have a mysterious stalker terrorizing your wealthy family, dead animals turning up in your pristine suburban pool. And your response is to, what, leave the house, lie to your parents, and go to a pop-up tattoo parlor in a sketchy basement with a girl whose legal name appears to be Angel X.
Uh-huh.
Are we serious right now?
Honestly, it is truly staggering. Like, a potato might actually fare better in this scenario because at least a potato inherently understands, the value of staying buried in the dirt when it's dark outside. These kids are actively seeking out the darkest, most dangerous corners of Savannah, basically begging to be traumatized. It is an evolutionary failure at its absolute finest.
Literally. Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And babes, we hope you're having an amazing weekend. Today, we are breaking down the absolute psychological warfare that was the latest episode of Cape Fear. And I'm shaking. We're stripping away the suburban illusions, unpacking every single terrifying twist that has us fully spiraling today.
We are in a full tailspin, honestly. Like, the Snark Squad deserves nothing less than a complete, unhinged, yet highly analytical breakdown of this absolute masterpiece of television trauma.
Exactly. And to fuel this specific tailspin, babes, the drinks are officially on deck. And yes, obviously, they are frozen Aperols.
Obviously.
Because it is summer, the sun is shining, and if a drink isn't cold enough to give you an actual physical brain freeze, are you even relaxing?
You are absolutely not. And there's actually a very specific, almost insidious scientific reason why frozen cocktails automatically taste better.
Wait, really? Drop the science.
Yeah, so the extreme cold temperature physically numbs your taste buds specifically, like the TRPM5 ion channels in your tongue that detect bitterness just enough to mask the harsh qualities of the alcohol. So structurally, a frozen Aperol is designed to bypass your body's natural defense mechanisms.
Oh my God, that is so manipulative of the beverage industry.
It is. It tricks your brain, allowing you to consume significantly more liquor much faster before your central nervous system even registers what is happening. It's a brilliant, delicious trap, much like the traps being set in Savannah right now.
I am fully and willingly walking into that trap. Like, I don't even care. Does Aperol deserve the title of drink of the summer? Yes, absolutely yes.
No argument here.
I will fight anyone in the Snark Squad who says otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm predicting right now that we will both consume at least 15 more of these before September hits.
15 is a highly conservative estimate. I mean, let's be real. But I'll allow it. It's Friday. We made it, babes.
We made it. And as always, before we dive into the darkness of the Bowden family, we have to do our Workday Rosenthorn Dentist Edition. Because yes, if you're new here, your chaotic podcast besties are also drilling into teeth from 9 to 5.
The glamorous life of dental professionals.
So glamorous. Okay, my rose today. I had this incredibly nervous patient, just terrified of the chair, gripping the armrests like they were on a roller coaster, and they left genuinely smiling. It fills my cup.
Oh, wait, that's actually really sweet.
Right, but oh my God, my thorn. I spent 20 actual minutes tearing apart my clinic, flipping over charts, sweating, panicking, only to realize my safety glasses were resting on top of my head the entire time.
The absolute lack of situational awareness is astounding, yet totally on brand for you.
I was so stressed. Okay, what about you?
Well, my rose was finishing my final chart ahead of schedule, which, as any medical professional knows, is a logistical miracle. Like, the heavens parted.
Unheard of. Truly.
But my thorn. I walked into the staff room and discovered that some absolute monster, some societal menace, microwaved fish.
No. Ugh. Absolutely not. Immediate jail time. Do not pass go.
It was a violent assault on the olfactory senses. I gagged. I had to physically leave the premises. But honestly, as horrific as the microwave tilapia was, drilling into people's molars all day somehow feels significantly calmer and fundamentally less toxic than watching reality television.
100%.
And specifically less toxic than the Bowden family dynamics we are about to unpack. I mean, dentistry is built on fixing decay. The Bowdens are actively cultivating it.
Dentistry is a literal luxury spa day compared to being a Bowden. Speaking of sweating and survival, we have to update the Snark Squad on our basketball league.
Oh, God, do we have to?
Yes. We went to our rec league right before coming to the studio. And babes, after 10 grueling classes, I think we might actually be getting better.
I need you to define better. Because my definition of better involves not feeling like my lungs are actively collapsing at center court. Cardio remains a deeply personal attack against my spirit.
But I was celebrating. I was celebrating every single successful pass today like I had just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A chess pass, Super Bowl ring, a bounce pass, MVP trophy.
You were screaming. Like, it was a lot for a Tuesday afternoon.
You have to celebrate the small victories.
I mean, I will admit I did hit one accidental three-pointer, and for about 4 uninterrupted seconds, I felt like I was standing on a podium winning gold at the Olympics.
See, you felt the glory.
It was a transcendent, albeit entirely lucky, experience. But let's be real, the only thing truly carrying our team right now is the aesthetic. The custom jerseys are doing 90% of the heavy lifting.
The jerseys are giving, okay, they're providing an illusion of competence.
Yeah.
But babes, okay, we need to have a serious conversation with you all. Babes, we need a podcast sponsor.
We are desperate. The cocktail budget is crying.
I have thought about this endlessly. The sheer number of emails I have drafted to brands in my head. I'm just sitting here imagining us, starring in wildly dramatic ad reads.
Oh, God, what's your pitch?
Like, are you currently running from a psychopathic ex-con with a god complex? Do you need full range of motion while sprinting through a Georgian swamp? You need these sweat-wicking leggings.
That's targeted marketing right there. I'm just wondering if the free snacks we got sent last week technically count as legal tender. Like, can I pay my rent in artisanal popcorn? Because if so, we are wealthy beyond measure.
We're thriving.
But seriously, we will happily promote frozen Aperols, comfy scrubs, a mongoose delivery service, or literally anything that funds this chaos.
Truly. But honestly, thank you to the Snark Squad for continuing to share this show with your friends. This little community keeps growing, and we see you, and we are incredibly grateful.
We really are.
Now, one last thing before we get into the episode.
Oh.
After work, we went to an Italian cooking class and made calzones.
We attempted calzones, let's be accurate.
Okay, yes, attempted. But the dough, stretching the dough without tearing it is so stressful.
The whole process is a nightmare of mathematical precision. Like, you're constantly fighting against the structural integrity of the dough. It requires a level of patience and emotional regulation I simply do not possess.
And the cheese ratio.
Exactly, the calculus of the cheese-to-filling ratio. Too much ricotta, and you have a soggy, catastrophic structural collapse. Too little, and it's just dry, disappointing bread.
But the smell, when that smell hits you coming out of the brick oven, it's life-changing. Homemade food objectively tastes better. It just does.
Yeah.
You put your blood, sweat, and tears into that dough.
Mostly sweat, considering the temperature of that kitchen.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I have to expose you to the Snark Squad right now because this analytical, patient, highly logical person sitting across from me, babes, they ate half their calzone before it had properly cooled and completely burned the roof of their mouth.
I mean,
The skin was peeling.
I was starving, and the cheese ratio was mathematically perfect. I stand by my choices, even with second-degree burns on my palate. But babes, enough about basketball, calzones, and our sponsorship dreams. Let's get into Cape Fear.
Yes. Oh my gosh, my heart rate just spiked talking about it. Okay, we have to start with the ending. We have to start with the ultimate betrayal because I was literally screaming at my television screen. The Neve twist.
It was an absolute masterclass in dropping a narrative bomb right before the credits roll.
Babes, Ray the PI finally does his job. He runs his little background check and uncovers that Neve's mom was a former prison nurse. A nurse who was fired exactly 17 years ago for sleeping with an inmate. And that inmate is Max Cady.
Yep.
Neve is Max's daughter. I am fully in orbit. This means Max has had a proxy inside the Bowden house this entire time.
Okay, take a breath and let's unpack the clues here, because honestly, looking back, the writers left a trail of breadcrumbs so obvious it was practically glowing. Let's look at the name. Neve. What is Neve spelled backwards? It's exactly heaven. Which directly ties into Max Cady's weird, twisted, biblical obsession. He views himself as an instrument of divine retribution. And her online handle when she was messaging Zach, it's literally Angel X. The show was screaming it at us.
Right in our faces.
But what's truly concerning here is the absolute staggering uselessness of the Bowden parents. Tom and Anna have this top-tier, ridiculously expensive, state-of-the-art security system, and they let a random, angsty teenager with a Wi-Fi jammer waltz in through the front door and systematically destroy their children's lives from the inside out.
The call is coming from inside the house, babes. Literally.
It's embarrassing for them.
But here is my theory, and I really want your take on this. Is it possible that Neve is acting independently? Like, think about it. She's a 17-year-old girl. Her dad has been locked in a cage for her entire life because of Tom Bowden. She is angry. She is resentful. Could she be freelancing this vengeance, just taking it out on the lawyer's kids on her own accord? Or is Max fully orchestrating every single move she makes from afar?
It's an interesting theory, but we have to look at Max's psychological profile. Max is the ultimate puppet master. He does not leave variables to chance. There is no way Neva is freelancing this destruction. Look at the shrine in Max's
The
house.
Santeria altar.
Yes, the
Yeah.
altar. He literally has a drawing of his quote-unquote unborn son, Adam, that Zach drew for him. Max is deeply, terrifyingly obsessed with legacy, with bloodlines, and with offspring. He views children not as independent human beings, but as extensions of his own ego and vengeance. He groomed her.
Oh, that's so dark.
Neva is the weapon he forged while he was sitting in that cell for 17 years. He planted her in their lives like a Trojan horse.
Okay, but babes, the timeline. Let's talk about the horrific mind-bending mathematics of this timeline.
Yeah.
If Neva is 17 years old and Natalie Bowden is 17 years old, do you see where my brain is going with this?
I see exactly where your brain is going, and it makes me want to take a shower in industrial bleach.
Did Max sleep with Anna during the original trial? Is Natalie actually Max's daughter too?
If that theory holds water, we are looking at Targaryen-level incest implications here.
Yes. Because Natalie and Neve just hooked up. They were making out on a bed.
I know. If they are half-sisters, this show just crossed a line into a level of darkness that I am not entirely prepared to process, but mathematically, the timeline fits perfectly. Max goes to prison 17 years ago. Both girls are 17.
My jaw's on the floor.
And look at Anna's visceral reaction to Max kissing her later in the episode. There's deep, unresolved history there. Max specifically targets Anna in a way that feels intensely personal, not just professional.
It is sickening. It is so dark. Which brings us to the overarching theme of this episode. The soft girl era is officially dead, and the illusion of the safe, perfect suburb is shattering. Like, Natalie and Zach are in a complete freefall.
A downward spiral of epic proportions.
Let's talk about Natalie's rebellion, because I am beside myself. She goes from being this straight-A perfect soccer goalie to sitting at the breakfast table and calling her dad a cuck to his face over scrambled eggs.
It was a brutal deployment of modern vocabulary against a very fragile man. But Natalie's physical rebellion is a direct mirror of Tom's psychological collapse. Max is finding the microscopic cracks in their suburban facade and driving a wedge into them.
And it's working so well.
But let's break down the logistics of that soccer practice scene, because I have serious questions about the institutional control at this high school. What kind of elite sports coach lets a random combat boot-wearing goth girl Neve just stroll onto the middle of the field during an active practice?
Right.
And then the star goalie just takes off her gloves and walks away. No whistle, no laps, no disciplinary action.
Coach literally just stood there holding a clipboard, like, hello, do your job.
Yeah.
But then it gets so much worse. And Yvette takes Natalie to a pop-up tattoo parlor. Babes, it was a sketchy room in a random residential house. I was spiraling about tetanus.
The sanitary conditions were non-existent.
I was screaming about sterile environments and blood-borne pathogens. She lets this girl whose alias is Angel X pierce her nipple. Why would Natalie do that?
You have to look at the psychology of rebellion. Natalie's entire life is built on her parents' perfectly curated lies. Their marriage is a sham, their wealth feels hollow, and their safety is an illusion. The physical pain of the piercing is the only real, authentic thing she can feel right now. It's a reclamation of her own body from the sterile expectations of her family.
Wow, okay, Dr. Freud. But then they escalate from unsanitary body modification to a literal felony. They use a Wi-Fi jammer to break into Callie's house.
Yeah.
And I need you to explain how that even works. How does a teenager bypass a massive security system?
It's actually terrifyingly simple if you understand radio frequency. A Wi-Fi jammer doesn't hack the system by guessing passwords. It simply floods the specific 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequency bands with white noise.
Okay, English, please.
Basically, the security cameras and door sensors communicate with the central router using invisible radio waves. When the jammer turns on, it's like blasting a foghorn in a quiet room. The devices can't hear each other anymore. The system goes blind.
Oh my God.
Which perfectly symbolizes how Max is jamming the Bowden family's emotional communication. They can't hear each other's cries for help.
That is so creepy. And they use this foghorn to break in, and they proceed to have sex on Callie's bed. But when Callie's dad comes home unexpectedly, Niva pulls out a knife. A literal blade.
She was ready to catch a body. Neva didn't even flinch. She had that knife out and was fully prepared to plunge it into an innocent suburban father just to facilitate her escape.
She is unhinged.
This isn't just teenage angst. This is psychopathy in training. She has inherited her father's complete lack of empathy.
She absolutely has. And while Natalie is entering her felony era, Zach is on the most pathetic, unhinged apology tour I have ever witnessed.
Yeah.
It's like I cannot even handle his lack of self-awareness.
Zach is a walking case study in narcissistic victimhood and the collapse of the male ego. He tricks his father, Tom, into driving him to the Savannah College of Art and Design under the guise of attending an art show.
So manipulative.
In reality, it's a premeditated stalking mission to corner his ex-girlfriend, Sophia. The same Sophia whose private nude photos he maliciously leaked to his friends. And he expects her to just, absolve him because he feels a little guilty.
He literally thinks his guilt is the heaviest burden in the room. He thinks because he is sad, the slate should be wiped clean. And then he gets that phone call. Sophia, or honestly, my theory is that it was an AI voice generated by Neve, because we know she has the tech skills, calls him and point blank tells him he is a bad person and she will never forgive him.
Which, by the way, is a completely valid boundary for Sophia to set, AI or not. Forgiveness is not mandatory.
Totally. But Zach's reaction, the narcissistic collapse. He goes into his walk-in closet sobbing and pulls out a secret burner phone. He texts Angel X, and Yves shows up with this mysterious Amazonian powder. Devil's breath. Scopolamine. She blows it right into his face. Babes, I was screaming at the screen. Is he going to bite off his other toe?
I mean, the flexibility required to bite off your own toe is impressive, but doing it twice is just showing off. But let's actually explain what scopolamine is, because it is terrifying. It comes from the borashro tree in Colombia. It acts as an anticholinergic drug.
Science mode activated.
What that means chemically is that it blocks the neurotransmitter acetylcholine in your central nervous system. Acetylcholine is responsible for memory encoding, learning, and executive function. When it's blocked, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes decisions and evaluates risk, is basically muted.
It sounds like a zombie movie.
It kind of is. You are awake, you can walk, you can talk, but you lose the cognitive ability to say no. It completely eliminates free will.
Which is perfectly thematic.
Yeah.
Like, Zach already hates taking accountability for his actions. He leaked the photos and blamed his friends. He stalks his ex and blames his guilt. He's constantly looking for a way to let someone else drive the car of his life.
Exactly.
Neve giving him a drug that removes his free will is just giving him exactly what he wants, an excuse to be out of control.
Precisely. Neve is systematically dismantling both of these children, using their own fatal flaws against them, and the parents are completely oblivious because they're too busy being utterly useless and consumed by their own secrets.
Let's transition to those useless parents. Because Tom and Anna are giving us nothing but giant waving red flags and moral complicity. Tom's repressed trauma is finally coming to light, and it is incredibly heavy.
Yeah, we finally get the reveal that Tom's older brother didn't die in a tragic car crash like he's been telling his family for years. He committed suicide, and young Tom was the one who found the body.
That is just awful.
That is a catastrophic level of foundational trauma that has been rotting inside him for decades.
My heart genuinely broke during that pool scene. Zach is face down in the water, just doing breathing exercises his therapist gave him to manage anxiety. But Tom looks out the kitchen window, sees his son floating motionless, and his brain instantly flashes back to his brother.
Total trickle.
He has a full PTSD panic attack. He jumps into the pool, fully clothed, screaming, grabbing Zach, dragging him out. And then what does he do? He fires Dr. Carlisle. He fires the only competent therapist in Savannah because she dared to bring up his brother's mental health history.
I want to use a dental metaphor here because it perfectly encapsulates Tom.
Do it.
You know when a patient comes in with a perfect-looking crown? The enamel is white, it looks structurally sound, and from the outside it is a perfect tooth. But underneath the gum line, the dentin is rotting, the pulp is necrotic.
Oh, yes. The worst.
That is Tom Bowden. The massive house, the law degree, the expensive security system, that is the pristine crown. The rot is the unresolved trauma of finding his brother's body. And instead of getting a root canal, which is therapy, he just keeps chewing on ice until the whole tooth shatters. He fires the therapist because facing his own necrotic pulp is scarier than watching his family fall apart.
That is the perfect analogy. The rot is spreading. He is literally hitting himself in the head with his own fists because the emotional pain has nowhere else to exit his body. It is so toxic. And while Tom is imploding, we have Anna. Oh, Anna. The corrupt queen herself. She is making literal Faustian deals with the devil.
She's backed into a corner. She needs to get Ruben Ramirez off death row. The appeal was denied. So she goes to see Smiley, this terrifying ex-con who owns an alarming number of snakes, to coerce a confession out of him. And Anna, an experienced, high-powered lawyer, tries to secretly record him in his own living room.
A massive legal fail. Explain the law here, because I was yelling at my TV.
Okay, so Georgia is a one-party consent state. Legally, that means only one person involved in a conversation needs to consent to the recording. Since Anna is part of the conversation, she is technically legally allowed to record him without telling him. However, Smiley isn't an idiot. He sees the phone. The moment he figures it out, pulls a gun on her, and drops her phone into a snake tank, the legal admissibility vanishes, but more importantly, the psychological upper hand completely flips. She thought she could outsmart the criminal underworld with a technicality.
Which is exactly what you deserve when you try to play legally cute with a man who lives with 30 reptiles in his living room.
Yeah.
But then, Anna does the unthinkable. She allows Max Cady to step in and quote-unquote compel Smiley.
Let's shade Anna's moral compass for a second, because it is non-existent. He knows exactly who Max Cady is. She knows he is a violent, calculating predator.
A literal monster.
Max walks into that house, uses his Santeria and prison mafia authority to intimidate Smiley, literally stabs one of the snakes in the head with a fork, and physically assaults the man. And Anna, she just stands on the sidewalk.
She does nothing.
She listens to the muffled screams, the breaking furniture, and she just stares into the middle distance, pretending her hands are clean. She sold her soul for a taped confession.
And what is her reward for selling her soul?
No.
The kiss. Max comes out, wipes the blood off his hands, hands her the phone with the confession, and then aggressively, passionately kisses her in the middle of the public park.
And here is the psychological breakdown of that kiss. It had nothing to do with romance and entirely to do with power.
Oh, 100%.
Max uses his sexual charisma like a blunt instrument. He didn't just kiss her. He invaded and dominated her space. He wanted Anna to know, intimately and physically, that she's just as dirty, just as compromised, and just as capable of violence by proxy as he is.
But babes, she kissed him back for a second. She hesitated. Amy Adams played that scene with such brilliant micro-expressions. Like, she looked like she was ready to vibrate out of her own skin. Her breathing hitched. She didn't push him away immediately. She leaned into it.
Because the darkness is intoxicating to her, Anna's life with Tom is sterile, suffocating, and built on lies. Max represents raw, unbridled, dangerous truth. She's an adrenaline junkie masquerading as a suburban housewife.
And someone caught that adrenaline rush on camera. Enter Juliette Lewis with the heart-shaped glasses.
The casting coup of the century. Having Juliette Lewis, who played the original teenage daughter Danielle Burton in the 1991 Scorsese movie, come back to play the mysterious stalker is brilliant metatextual casting.
I freaked out when she took the mask off. She steps out from behind a tree in this neon-lined green raincoat, filming Anna with a retro camcorder. And she asks the most chilling, degrading question. Are you his whore now, babes? My jaw dropped.
She reveals to Anna that she previously warned Max's dead wife, Melissa, and his dead mistress, Amy, to stay away from him. And look what happened to them. They're both dead. She is the harbinger of doom for the women in Max's orbit.
So what is our working theory here? Is she Max's sister? Because we saw a young girl watching him get baptized in a flashback a few episodes ago. Is she a surviving victim of his past abuse? And why is she only warning the women? Why does she actively avoid confronting Max himself?
My theory is that she's a surviving victim who deeply understands the pathology of how Max operates. She knows he preys on women, systematically isolates them from their support networks, and destroys them.
Yeah, makes sense.
She avoids Max because she knows that to engage with him directly is an immediate death sentence. She is trying to break the cycle by cutting off his supply of victims. But speaking of terrifying engagements, we have to transition to the car dealership power move.
Oh my God. This scene gave me actual chills. Max goes to a luxury car dealership to buy a car with his new settlement money. The salesman, Ron, flat out refuses to sell to him. Why? Because Ron's wife, Sandy, was best friends with Max's dead wife, Melissa. Ron knows exactly what kind of monster Max is.
And Max's riposte is a terrifying masterclass in psychopathic intimidation. If an average person was denied service, they might yell, cause a scene, or threaten physical violence. Max does none of that.
No, he's so quiet.
His heart rate probably dropped. He leans in and calmly, quietly explains that he knows Ron's wife, Sandy, very intimately, because he was sleeping with her behind Ron's back. And to prove it, he describes their master bedroom in agonizing detail, specifically mentioning a pair of heart-shaped sunglasses sitting on the nightstand.
The psychological warfare. I want to break down why that is so much scarier than a physical threat.
Because a physical threat triggers an immediate fight-or-flight response. Cortisol spikes. Adrenaline floods the system, and you react. But Max's calm delivery bypasses the immediate physical threat and attacks the victim's reality.
That's gaslighting on steroids.
By detailing the bedroom, he is telling Ron, I have been inside your sanctuary. I have tainted the person you love, and you are completely powerless to stop it. It plants a seed of paranoia that will destroy Ron's marriage long after Max leaves the showroom.
And the kicker. Later in the episode, Max is seen stalking Ron outside a restaurant, wearing the heart-shaped sunglasses.
The level of petty is astronomical, but it's also a psychological anchor.
The level of psycho. He kept the glasses, he took a trophy from the woman he slept with, and he put them on his actual face to stalk her husband. I was screaming at the television.
It is high camp, but it perfectly illustrates that Max Cady leaves absolutely no slight unpunished. He will consume everything you love. Which brings us, babes, to our first segment of the day. Because if we were magically transported to Savannah and tracked with these people, we would need a tactical plan. It is time for the horror survival draft.
Yes. Okay, the concept is simple. We each get to draft 5 items we would bring if we had to survive the events of this episode. And I am going first because I have thought about this deeply, and my emotional, chaotic picks are flawlessly designed for survival.
I highly doubt that, considering your inability to find safety glasses on your own head, but please, proceed.
Hey. Okay, item number 1. A live mongoose.
A mongoose.
Yes, to fight smiley snakes. If I am a lawyer and I have to walk into a drug dealer's house filled with loose reptiles to get a legal confession, I am bringing a natural predator. Rikki Tikki Tavi is coming with me.
A mongoose is not a domestic pet. It is a wild, erratic animal. It will absolutely bite you before it ever attacks the snake.
It's a calculated risk and an investment in my survival. Item number 2, a prepaid burner phone. Because Neva is out here cloning iPhones, hacking Wi-Fi routers, and generating AI voice notes, I need an analog phone that cannot be traced by a highly motivated goth teenager.
Okay, analytically speaking, that is actually a very solid, pragmatic choice. I will give you that one.
Thank you. Item number 3, a full-body chainmail suit.
Chainmail, like a medieval knight?
Yes, to protect my extremities. If someone blows devil's breath in my face and my prefrontal cortex shuts down, I am making sure my digits are fully protected by interlocking steel rings. You cannot bite through steel babes. My toes will remain attached to my feet.
The visual image of you walking through the 90-degree Georgia humidity, sweating profusely inside a heavy chainmail suit is horrifying. You wouldn't survive the climate, let alone Max Cady.
I would be safe. Item number 4, a lime green raincoat, so I can blend in with Juliette Lewis in the bushes. Urban camouflage. If I look like the stalker, maybe Max will leave me alone. And finally, item number 5, a frozen Eperol. Because if I am living in this toxic Savannah nightmare, constantly looking over my shoulder for teenagers with knives, I need to numb the pain.
That is the most chaotic, structurally unsound survival kit I have ever heard in my life. You're gonna die of heat stroke and chainmail while an untrained mongoose attacks your ankles. My picks, analytically speaking, guarantee survival through logic.
Okay, let's hear them.
Item 1, a military-grade Wi-Fi jammer. Nvidia had the right idea. This technology is completely overpowered. If you can jam the radio frequencies, you control the environment. You blind your enemies.
Overpowered, yes, but fair. I respect it.
Item 2. A one-way plane ticket to literally anywhere but Georgia. Savannah is cursed. The soil is poisoned by the Bowdens. I am relocating to a cabin in the Pacific Northwest immediately.
Coward. That is fleeing the draft.
It's called self-preservation. Item 3. Heart-shaped sunglasses. For pure psychological intimidation. If Max Cady approaches me in a parking lot, I put them on, tilt my head, and establish dominance. I out-psycho the psycho. I make him wonder what I know.
I would pay actual American dollars to see that stare down. You versus Max Cady in sunglasses.
I would win. Item 4. A hardwired analog ring camera system that actually works and cannot be hacked by a teenager. The Bowdens spent a fortune on wireless security, which is useless against RF jamming. I want analog tripwires and closed-circuit television. And item 5, a highly competent EMDR therapist.
Honestly, yeah.
Since Tom fired Dr. Carlisle, the only mental health professional actively trying to keep this family afloat, I am bringing my own. Because surviving the gaslighting of this town requires heavy trauma processing.
Okay, your list is very logical and boring. But let me present a scenario. If Max breaks into your house and stabs your Wi-Fi jammer with a fork, what are you going to do? My mongoose would jump directly onto his face.
Max would look into the mongoose's eyes, compel it to join his Santeria cult, and then the mongoose would turn around and attack you. I win this draft. But let's move on to segment 2, red flag radar.
Oh, the flags are crimson today, babes. The concept. We rank questionable decisions from the episode on an escalating scale of panic. The scale is Mildly suspicious? Absolutely not. Call your therapist, call your lawyer, or leave the state immediately.
I will read the first item. Item 1. Going to a pop-up tattoo parlor in a random residential house with a girl named Angel X.
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? A pop-up tattoo parlor is not a quirky aesthetic choice. It is an infection waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And a girl whose name sounds like an Xbox Live gamer tag from 2009? No. You are literally asking for hepatitis C.
Completely agree. Absolutely not. There's no regulatory oversight. Item 2. Tom lying to his actively suicidal son about how his uncle died, claiming it was a tragic car crash instead of a suicide.
Call your therapist. Call every therapist in a 50-mile radius. Tom is doing catastrophic damage. Zach is actively self-harming. He is cutting himself, and Tom is gaslighting him about their family's genetic predisposition to severe mental health crises. It makes me so incredibly heated.
It is the literal definition of generational trauma passing down in real time. Tom's silence is weaponized. Call your therapist is the correct ranking. Item 3. Anna letting a convicted murderer torture a man with snakes to win a legal appeal.
Call your lawyer. Wait, she IS a lawyer. She needs to call the Bar Association. Leave the state immediately.
I am ranking this a dual call your lawyer, AND, leave the state immediately. She crossed a legal and moral Rubicon here. The ethics committee would have a field day. She is an active accessory to felony assault, animal cruelty, and witness intimidation.
She is going to get disbarred. And honestly, she deserves it. She watched a man get tortured. Item 4, letting your dangerous ex-client aggressively kiss you in a public park while a stalker films it from the bushes.
Leave the state immediately. Do not pack a bag. Do not grab your toothbrush. Just get in the car and drive until you hit a different time zone. The absolute lack of situational awareness is staggering.
The fact that she lingered in the kiss. I am putting a red flag on Amy Adams' acting choices because they were entirely too good. I felt the tension through the screen.
Which perfectly transitions us into our next analytical exercise, segment 3, If This Happened on Bravo.
My absolute favorite game.
We are going to reimagine this specific episode as if it took place during a Bravo reality TV cast trip. Let's say Real Housewives or Vanderpump Rules. We are mapping the psychology of Cape Fear onto reality TV tropes. Who throws the first drink?
Oh, Tom Bowden. 100%. It is not even a competition. He has absolutely zero emotional regulation. He literally hits himself in the head with his own fists when he gets mad. Put a massive glass of Pinot Grigio in his hand during a heated dinner argument in Tulum, and he is shattering that glass against a stucco wall. He is the ultimate Bravo rage monster.
I concur. Tom has the exact psychological profile of Jax Taylor crossed with a corrupt lawyer. He would be a nightmare for production. Now, who starts the group chat meltdown?
Nove. She is the sniper from the side.
Without a doubt. She's the messy friend of the cast who gets brought on the trip by a producer just to drop proximity bombs. She would sit down at breakfast, stir her iced coffee, look at the cameras, and just casually type into the group chat. Oh, by the way, I'm Max's secret daughter. I slept with Natalie in the guest room, and I spiked Zach's drink with Colombian devil's breath. Anyway, can someone pass the Aperol?
She would be producing the entire season from her iPhone.
Yeah.
The ultimate unbothered pot stirrer.
Yeah.
But here's the most important question. Who somehow manages to make themselves the victim in all of this chaos?
Zach.
Always Zach.
He is the ultimate reality TV gaslighter. Let's review his rap sheet. He maliciously leaks revenge porn of his ex. He stalks her at an art show. He actively chooses to text a drug dealer. He takes mind-altering narcotics, bites his own toes, and yet he still sits in the confessional chair, sobbing into his hands, expecting a casserole, a GoFundMe, and a handwritten apology from society.
He would be sobbing at the reunion. Speaking of the reunion, can you imagine Max Cady sitting on the couch next to Andy Cohen?
It would be a masterclass in psychological terror. Max would be wearing the heart-shaped glasses, refusing to adhere to the dress code. Andy would look at his cards and ask a direct viewer question like, Max, from Susan in Ohio, why did you stab the snake with a fork?
Yes.
And Max wouldn't yell. He would just lean forward, smile that terrifying smile, and start speaking in complex Santeria riddles about the Orishas and divine punishment. Andy would be sweating through his Tom Ford suit.
Max would totally compel Andy to give him first seat. Juliette Lewis would be screaming from the back row in her lime green raincoat, holding up printed screenshots. It would be Emmy-nominated chaos.
It would break the internet. The server infrastructure of Twitter would collapse. But since we do not have Andy Cohen to save us, and we are stuck relying on our own wits, we need our final segment, the Soft Girls Survival Guide.
Yes, because the soft girls are absolutely not making it out of Savannah alive right now. The survival rate is 0. We are creating a definitive list of completely unnecessary but absolutely essential survival rules for thriller situations based specifically on the mistakes made in this episode. Rule number 1, babes.
Cute shoes are not suitable for running from a man with extensive back tattoos. Let's look at the evidence. Anna goes to meet a highly dangerous ex-con in a park known for illicit activity, and she is wearing business casual footwear, a slight heel, a loafer.
It's a terrible idea.
If Max decided to snap his fingers and chase her, she is twisting an ankle on the pavement within 4 seconds. Soft girls, you must wear your running sneakers. Arch support is the difference between life and death.
Practicality over aesthetics. Always. I don't care if it ruins the outfit. Run. Rule number 2, and I insist this should be basic human common sense. If a girl introduces herself and tells you her name is FU or Angel X, do not let her pierce your nipples with a needle.
It's basic medical triage. If her chosen alias sounds like an Xbox Live gamer tag from a Call of Duty lobby in 2009, she absolutely does not possess an autoclave or a sterile needle. You are inviting sepsis into your body.
Exactly. Rule number 3.
Do not attempt to legally compel a man who owns more than 3 large reptiles. Think about the psychology of reptile guys. They operate entirely outside the bounds of human societal law. They prefer cold-blooded companions. They do not care about your subpoenas, your one-party consent laws, or your law degree. They have absolutely nothing to lose.
Honestly, the reptile rule should just be simplified to never leave your house. If a man owns a snake, block his number. If he owns 30 snakes, move to a different country.
Fair point.
Rule number 4. If someone looks you in the eye and says, "Trust me," while holding a mysterious white powder imported from the Amazon, absolutely do not trust them.
It comes back to situational awareness, babes. If a teenager with a knife pulls out a vial of scopolamine, you don't take a deep breath and ask questions. You don't try to unpack her childhood trauma, you run.
You run away in your ugly, sensible sneakers. Save yourselves, soft girls.
Exactly. Prioritize your prefrontal cortex. And that, I believe, brings us to the end of this massive, exhausting, utterly chaotic breakdown of Cape Fear.
Babes, thank you so much to the Snark Squad for sitting with us and listening to us spiral for the last hour. We appreciate you more than you know. This show is a lot, but unpacking it with you makes it so much fun. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this breakdown with another Snarker who loves messy, toxic, psychological drama just as much as we do.
But before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final chilling thought to mull over while you sip your frozen Aperols this weekend.
Ooh, what is it?
Let's review the facts. We know Max has a Santeria shrine dedicated to his unborn son, Adam. We know Neve is a fully grown 17-year-old teenager. So mathematically, if Adam was unborn, does Max have another secret child out there in the world that we don't know about? A son who is waiting in the wings? Or did someone kill Adam before he was ever born?
Oh my God. Babes, I'm going to be thinking about that all night. The timeline, the implications. Stay curious.
Stay chaotic.
And we'll see you on the Snark side.
And we'll see you on the Snark side.